All right, everybody, welcome back to our next stop in this Death album review series. Again, just the heaviest thing we've covered, did Scream Bloody Gore last time, talked about that. Just amazing, amazing debut. Well, how do you follow something like that up? Well, this is the last Death album from the 80s. 89 or 88 is when this thing dropped, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure it's 88. Um, Either way, we're talking about Leprosy, and man, another amazing artwork piece here from Ed Repka, one of my, again, like I said last time, one of my favorite album artists of all time. Done a lot of cool stuff, and man, I got this thing shipped in recently, this album, and man, it is another one that their discography on vinyl is freaking hard to get a hold of. I got these off, Discogs, talking to people and, looking for different, price ranges and everything. And this one, I paid a pretty penny for it just to get it. Original press here. Just another one, again, one of my favorite album covers of all time, really. This is a very iconic album cover. And this is, as we know, a lot of people's favorite Death album. Is it mine? We'll wait and see when the ranking comes out later on after we've done, covered them all. But with that being said, let's jump right in with a new lineup. This time, these guys right here in the back, of course, Chuck is here. They have another guitar player. His name's drawn a blank. Same with the drummer. Both incredible, though. And Terry Butler on bass, though. I do know him. He just tears it up, man. It's great, having, and with another guitar player, Chuck being able to, maybe divide the work up a little bit better, because as we know on Scream Bloody Gore, he was sitting there doing guitars and bass, and vocals. So now he gets to kind of divide it up a little bit, get to hear a little bit, different sound on here. The production is fantastic on here, just loud and aggressive. So we started off with the title track, Leprosy, and man, oh man, this one is just one of my favorites off here. It's got, you talk about time signature changes, awkward ones in a good way, and just very offbeat stuff. This is one of those, and you're getting the band's evolving. There was a lot of technical moments scattered across Scream Bloody Gore, but this album right here is just takes those and multiplies them, because Leprosy has plenty of these. The title track here, I love the chorus, just the visceral, way Chuck sings, growls, whatever you want to call it. The chorus of this thing, there's some more melodies on here that you'll get really, that are just really hooky, which sounds, crazy coming for people who don't really listen to death metal, but there are hooks in it. Death is great at making those. And Leprosy, again, just one of my favorite tracks off here. And a hell of a way to start it off. Really kind of, the title track really goes well with the album cover, and just its really raw and aggressive nature that the track kind of presents, and just like the album cover does. Then we've got Born Dead. Man, this is another just top tier track right here. I love the faster nature. All these songs are pretty damn speedy, right? But during the chorus, how it's just, born dead to this world, like just the way it kind of goes and goes and goes. It's like, man, Chuck ain't stopping. There's no holding back. And Born Dead, that's a track that really displays just how hungry these guys were. Just, you can hear it, man. I'm telling you can hear it on this album. And Born Dead, another all-time classic Death song. Forgotten Past is up next. My God. What an absolute, just one of my favorites of all time. Easy. This track is got and by the band, I don't really have a list of top songs of all time by all bands, but one of my favorite Death songs of all time. And this one, you talk about the time signature changes. This is right here. This is where it's at. This is one of my favorites off here. Like, I've said that about the other two, but this one is like a notch above them. Forgotten Past. It's got this awesome groove to it that's going on. and through the chorus and pre-chorus that is really, really technical, and really those odd time signatures, offbeat time signatures, are prevalent all over this track here. Throughout it, the speeds there. I just love the chorus is just so hooky to me on this one, and the speed of it. Just I love the drumming on here on this album. It's like, and I can't remember if this is the same drummer off of Scream Bloody Gore or not, but either way, just both those drummers, that one and this one, are just fan-freaking-tastic. I think this guy's a little bit better, providing even more of those crazy time signatures and the speed, and I like his sound better. And just, again, Forgotten Past is one of my favorite Death songs ever, and that one's just a notch, like on a whole nother level, as far as my favorites go off this album. Then we Inside One here with Left to Die, another solid track. I would say this one does kind of, lay near the bottom for me as far as my favorite tracks go on this album, but it is a solid way to close out that side one with it's different. All these songs, that's what another misconception people have about death metal. It's like, oh, they all bleed and run together. Not at all. That's not the case. And maybe to them it does. They're just, some people it does or whatever. But me, I don't hear that at all. I hear entirely different tracks. Nothing's bleeding together. All this stuff is individual in its own right. And Left to Die, again, just one of my. It doesn't. I mean, this is a stacked album, right? So if I gotta put something a little bit down as my least favorite, it's probably gonna be either that one or another one we'll talk about in a minute. Hop on over to side two. This is, my God, Pull the Plug. Dude, that riff in the chorus of this one, like just, why don't you just, and then pull the plug. I love that riff, love the chorus. This one and Forgotten Past are like my top two, easy, interchangeable off this album. Pull the Plug was, I went in order with the Death albums whenever I got into them a couple years ago. And man, I remember first time hearing Pull the Plug just blew me the hell away. An all-time great track, and not only for Death, not only for this album of death metal period. I think that is just an anthemic, just headbanger of a track. The groove to it, man, I can just imagine being in a pit, headbanging to that thing. Pull the Plug is one of my favorite tracks by that period. And it just, that riff is so driving. I love it. Then we go on to Open Casket. Another really badass one. Another just incredible one for me. The way Chuck, powerful stuff, man. There's something about the way Chuck Schuldiner, just his growls are so, they're like loud and like they have like almost an echo to them or something. I don't know, man. Maybe it's in the production, but it's something that is really there across all the albums. But I just thought I'd mention because that's his growls and vocals. They're so distinct from other death metal artists, and each of all these death metal singers and growlers, they do have like their own unique things about them and everything that it's pretty easy to pick out who's who if you played me like blind samples of them or whatever. But Chuck's is a major standout. Open Casket though is I love the verses in this one, and I love the very morbid lyrics and such, just like the first album off this one. I mean, to go back to, Born Dead, Pull the Plug, Open Casket, Left to Die. These are some dark themes, a lot about, death, because that's the title of the band. But anyways, yeah, we go on to Primitive Ways as our second last track here. And that is one I do like it a lot. Great song. But that's probably my least favorite off here. I would say I even like Left to Die better than that, which is not one of my favorites off here either. But Primitive Way is probably my least favorite off here, but it is, it's a great track. No doubt about it. I just, if I'm going through and I'm looking, especially all these, right here in the back, and all these lined up against just this ultimate stacked ass record, Primitive Ways has got to drop kind of near the bottom for me. But it's a solid track nonetheless. And we end it with the epic choke on it. This one is just another kind of anthemic one, you know, and the riff, just the grinding of that, those chugging riffs, man. It's all over here. It's all over here. And I love kind of how Chuck says, like, choke on it, you know, just kind of the way he kind of almost slurs it all together. You know, I really dig that. And the tracks did get a little bit lengthier on this album. Not by a ton compared to Scream Bloody Gore, but they are lengthier for sure. And we'll kind of see that go and continue to progress as we've traveled through here, you know, in this discography of theirs. When we enter the 90s next time, when we look at Spiritual Healing. But, I mean, what a way to make an impact in the 80s with Scream Bloody Gore, and then this album right here. Again, this is highly touted as their best album of all time. That's what I've seen a lot of people say it and rank it as their favorite. And again, I don't really do, you know, I don't do spoilers of what's my favorite or not. So we'll find that out once we rank them and everything. But just like the first album that we've already covered, I absolutely love this thing, and I think it's a classic. Love, love, love it. It's an essential death metal record. I think it's one of those records that you suggest to maybe a death metal virgin, right? To kind of hook them into it and show them what it's all about. You could show them this thing right here, and, you know, they're either going to love it or hate it, you know? But that I for sure freaking love it. Leprosy is an all-time classic, no doubt about it. Again, just to kind of wrap it up here, favorite tracks, Pull the Plug and Forgotten Past. Just, man. And I love Born Dead, Choke on It, Open Casket, and Leprosy. My least favorites, you know, Primitive Ways, Left to Die, but they're still great tracks. You know, it's like picking your favorite children on these death albums, I'm telling you, because they're just so freaking stacked. And the discography is so rich with just badassery. But anyways, guys, yeah, let's keep up this you know, this death metal discussion down there and talking about maybe our experiences, how we got into it. Because I kind of talked about my journey with death metal as a whole last time when I talked about Scream Bloody Gore. I'd love to hear that from you guys, kind of how you guys got into it, when, and what bands were really doing it for you, because it was these guys right here for me that definitely sit me all into the death metal world. And I would love to, you know, of course, talk about this thing right here, the constant lineup changes for the band. That'd be an interesting thing we could talk about down there. Maybe what your favorite lineup is. I know obviously we can talk about the art too. I mean, the artwork is just so sick from Ed Repka. Just awesome stuff all over the board, from Megadeth, Toxic, you know, and of course Death, and a ton of other stuff if you go and look through on his on the Wikipedia page. But just fantastic album. If you are new to death metal and are just kind of following along in here, this is a definite great starting point in a great introductory death metal album right here, Leprosy. So next time, guys, Spiritual Healing, when we enter the 90s. And, you know, that's the last decade of death albums, unfortunately, but we got a lot of them to go. This is only number 2 out of 7, so stay tuned for that, guys, when we cover Spiritual Healing next time. And like, subscribe, and comment. Thanks, guys.